It all started with a viral rumor that swept across social media platforms, catching the attention of millions almost overnight. People everywhere were glued to their screens, sharing and reacting to the news as it spread like wildfire. The claim that Ford Motor Company was shutting down all of its U.S. production facilities and moving operations overseas. The idea of such an iconic American brand leaving its home soil was shocking to many. Sensational headlines and dramatic videos quickly fueled widespread panic, with some reports suggesting Ford was abandoning American workers for good. News outlets and influencers jumped on the story, amplifying the sense of crisis. These stories, amplified by social media algorithms, preyed on deep-seated fears about the economy and job security. For many, it became nearly impossible to separate fact from fiction, as the narrative took on a life of its own. Misleading thumbnails and clickbait titles linked Ford's supposed exit to political decisions like tariffs and trade wars, stoking outrage and confusion. The story became a lightning rod for debates about American industry and global competition. For many Americans, the idea of Ford leaving wasn't just another business headline, it was a cultural shock. Ford has long been seen as a symbol of American prosperity and innovation, and the rumor challenged that legacy in a deeply personal way. The rumor's power lay in its simplicity, tapping into anxieties about globalization, automation, and the uncertain future of U.S. manufacturing. It resonated with anyone worried about losing their job or seeing their community change. In this digital echo chamber, misinformation spread at lightning speed. As the story grew, it left many Americans wondering, was Ford really turning its back on the country it helped build, or was this just another case of viral misinformation gone too far? When rumors began to swirl online about Ford shutting down its U.S. operations, fact-checkers like Snopes sprang into action. Their teams worked swiftly, combing through social media posts, viral videos, and news articles to get to the bottom of the story. Within hours, they launched a thorough investigation determined to separate fact from fiction and provide clarity to a confused public. Their verdict was clear and unequivocal. The story was entirely false. Snopes published a detailed breakdown, debunking every aspect of the claim and labeling it as misinformation. The red false stamp became a symbol of the truth in a sea of online confusion. No credible news outlet, government agency, or official company source supported the idea that Ford was closing its American factories or moving production overseas. In fact, Ford's U.S. plants continued to operate, with workers showing up for their shifts and vehicles rolling off the assembly lines as usual. The rumor, it turned out, originated from a network of AI-generated YouTube channels notorious for spreading fake news about major corporations. These channels use sophisticated algorithms to churn out sensational stories designed to go viral. Their videos, featuring automated voiceovers and generic stock footage, closely mimicked the look and feel of legitimate news reports. However, they offered no disclaimers or evidence, making it difficult for viewers to distinguish fact from fiction. The shutdown story was not just a misunderstanding, it was a deliberate act of digital deception. The creators aimed to generate clicks and ad revenue, exploiting public fears and curiosity for profit. While it's true that Ford had voiced concerns about tariffs and global trade tensions, there was never any plan to abandon its American workforce or relocate production abroad. The company's leadership remained committed to its U.S. operations. Instead, Ford made practical logistical adjustments to manage rising costs, such as optimizing supply chains and reviewing shipping strategies. These moves were part of normal business operations, not signs of a mass exodus. This incident serves as a stark reminder of how quickly misinformation can spread online and how easily it can damage the reputation of even the most established companies. In today's digital age, a single false story can reach millions within hours. The truth is, Ford wasn't abandoning America. The company was, and still is, facing real but very different operational challenges. Through it all, Ford's commitment to American manufacturing remains strong, and its factories continue to play a vital role in the nation's economy. While the rumors were false, Ford did experience real factory shutdowns, but for reasons far removed from politics. CEO Jim Farley confirmed that temporary closures were due to severe disruptions in Ford's global supply chain. Modern car manufacturing depends on a complex web of international suppliers, especially for parts from China. A shortage of even one component, like microchips, could halt entire assembly lines. The just-in-time inventory model, designed for efficiency, left Ford with no buffer when shipments were delayed. These shutdowns weren't a retreat, but a response to tangible logistical breakdowns. The pursuit of efficiency had created a fragile system, vulnerable to global instability. Trade disputes, shipping delays, and policy changes abroad had direct impacts on U.S. factory floors. Ford's shutdowns highlighted the immense strain on the global manufacturing system. U.S.-China trade tensions became a major headache for Ford. Tariffs and retaliatory measures created an unpredictable environment, complicating the flow of parts and materials. CEO Jim Farley admitted these disputes made long-term planning nearly impossible. Ford's global supply network, already stretched, was pushed to the brink by the trade war. The instability wasn't just about higher costs, it threatened operational certainty. Ford and other automakers were forced to constantly adapt to shifting trade policies. The friction between economic logic and political realities became a daily business risk. For Ford, navigating this landscape was a central challenge, complicating every aspect of production. One of the most critical, yet often overlooked factors behind Ford's recent production stoppages was the global shortage of rare earth minerals. These minerals, though not widely known to the public, are absolutely vital for the modern automotive industry. Without them, the production of many high-tech components simply grinds to a halt. Rare earth elements are essential for manufacturing advanced car parts, especially in electric vehicles, where they're used in powerful magnets, batteries, and other crucial systems. As the world shifts toward cleaner transportation, the demand for these minerals has skyrocketed, making them more important than ever before. The United States, however, is heavily dependent on imports for its rare earth supply. In fact, China currently controls about 90% of the global market, making it the dominant player in this strategic sector. Most of the rare earth minerals used in American factories arrive by ship from Chinese ports. When China decided to tighten its export controls on these minerals, American manufacturers like Ford felt the impact almost immediately. Production lines slowed, and in some cases came to a complete standstill. Ford's CEO, Jim Farley, publicly confirmed that the shortage of rare earth minerals was a direct cause of at least one major factory shutdown. This wasn't just a minor hiccup, it was a significant disruption with ripple effects throughout the company. The crisis made it clear that a single policy decision in Beijing could halt production lines thousands of miles away in the United States. It was a stark reminder of how interconnected and vulnerable the global supply chain has become. Relying so heavily on one country for such a critical resource exposed a major weakness in the American manufacturing system. Workers and managers alike were forced to confront the risks of this dependency. For Ford, the experience was a painful but necessary lesson in the importance of diversifying supply chains. The company began urgently exploring new sources and strategies to avoid similar crises in the future. As the global competition for rare earth minerals intensifies, the future of American auto manufacturing will depend on securing reliable access to these resources. The race is on to ensure that the next supply shock doesn't bring the industry to a standstill again. Ford CEO Jim Farley described the company's daily operations as a day-to-day battle for survival. Planning ahead was nearly impossible. Leadership made critical decisions on the fly just to keep assembly lines moving. Ford operated hand-to-mouth, consuming parts as soon as they arrived, with no inventory buffer. Any minor delay, a late truck or customs holdup, could stop production instantly. The cascading supply chain failures, especially shortages of semiconductors and rare earths, created systemic challenges. Ford's CFO, Sherry House, explained that new Chinese export rules made production schedules unpredictable. Shipments could be delayed indefinitely by sudden regulatory changes. Ford managed to cope for now, but the situation remained volatile and could escalate at any moment. Amid the turmoil, a breakthrough trade agreement between the US and China offered hope for Ford and other manufacturers. The deal is expected to ease exports of critical materials, including rare earths, vital for vehicle production. CEO Jim Farley expressed cautious optimism, emphasizing Ford's active engagement with officials in both countries. Ford's goal: secure its supply chains and turn diplomatic progress into a reliable flow of goods. The company is now navigating China's export approval system, with restrictions easing case by case. Rebuilding trust and predictability in the supply chain will take time. These developments suggest a turning point may be near, moving Ford beyond constant crisis management. For Ford's workers, this glimmer of hope signals better days ahead. The supply chain crisis wasn't Ford's only challenge. A massive recall affecting over 1 million vehicles forced the company to divert resources and risked damaging its reputation. Ford also faced retail disruptions, including the closure of a long-standing dealership for unrelated business expansion. These setbacks, from manufacturing to quality control and retail, painted a picture of a company under intense pressure. Each issue was significant on its own. Together, they created a complex web of challenges. Despite the turbulence, Ford's leadership remained committed to steering the company through adversity. Overcoming these pressures requires strategic management and resilience. Ford's journey forward involves more than fixing supply chains. It means tackling challenges across the entire business. Ford's recent struggles offer a powerful lesson about the modern global economy. No company, not even Ford, is immune to the vulnerabilities of globally dispersed supply chains. The pursuit of efficiency led to a system that's productive but fragile, especially when reliant on a single country for critical materials. Trade disputes and policy changes abroad can instantly impact American jobs and factories. The solution isn't abandoning globalization but building more resilient supply chains, diversifying suppliers, increasing domestic production, and creating strategic stockpiles. For automakers, investing in supply chain security is now a matter of national and economic security. Ford's experience underscores the delicate balance between global cooperation and national interests. The future of American manufacturing depends on building a foundation that's efficient, profitable, and resilient enough to weather global shocks.